folks who were there on Facebook, I think they're already there. Well, ending Shabbat Shalom to Shavua Tov. So last week, our story was um, about a golem and Lachies, okay, which took place about 400 years ago. Now we're going to be in contemporary times, and we're going to be talking about dreidels, okay? Because also now, when I grew up, you just have those little spin top plastic dreidels, and what you looked for is to get the cool color that you liked, so that you would have that. Now they have things, because I just took it up to one of the day programs that I do for BDC, because the person was complaining last month that there's all these Christmas decorations, but there's nothing for Hanukkah. So I had stuff that we had at BDC, so I brought up some plush dreidels and a menorah that the lights do some flashing on, and to have a little extra decoration. So though, now dreidels are all different kinds of things, and they do something that we wouldn't normally think of, which is dreidel workshops. And that's when Jeremy, who's a young child who belongs to Jewish Community Center, saw a dreidel workshop that was going to be taking place. So he added his name to the sign-up sheet. When he got there, he recognized some other people from his class, from school. She used to be in his carpool. So this one young lady, Abby, was carrying paper towel tubes and old magazines. And then David, who was a friend of his from swimming class, was looking through a book, and he said, oh, hey, Jeremy, look at this. It's a black and white top that turns colors when you spin it. And I wonder if we should be able to make a dreidel like that. Sure you can, said a friendly voice. I'm Miriam, your workshop teacher. So everybody found seats around the table. And of course, Miriam asked, because if you're going to be teaching any kind of Jewish class, you have to explain why you're doing what you're doing, right? You don't just do it. So she asked, why do we make dreidels? Why do we play about dreidels? So we were talking about, it's a top that's on a Hanukkah. They talk about the letters on it, the Nun, Gimel, Hey, Shin, which stands for Nes Gadol Hayasham, a great miracle happened there. Right, so that the Maccabee army defeated Antiochus, and the tent lights in the temple, the little bottle of oil that should have only lasted one day actually lasted for all 8 days. And then there was someone else in the class that they didn't know, and she said, my name is Dorit, and I was born in Israel, and we call dreidel a sivivon, which I had never heard of until I was an adult. And the letters on my sivivon in Israel are different. They stand for a great miracle happened here. It's po, it's of pay. So Miriam said, now let's see how people want to make their dreidels. So Abby said that I want to make my dreidels from recycled material. Jacob had brought an old music box, so he wanted to make a singing dreidel. Matthew wanted to use a rubber ball so he could make a dreidel that would bounce. I don't know how you would spin that, but so Miriam asked Jeremy what he wanted, and Jeremy said, just clay. And David said, don't you want to look through my book for a more exciting idea? No, Jeremy said. He went to the supply closet and he got a lump of clay. He said, I have a great idea. My dreidel is going to be a surprise for someone. So Jeremy started working with his clay. And the others were working on their dreidels, but they got kind of curious to see what he was doing. And one of them looked over his shoulders and said, hey, look at what Jeremy is doing. And Jacob said to him, is that a secret code? And Jeremy looked up, and he knew he was going to have to explain, because he was kind of used to explaining. He said, the dots on my dreidel aren't a secret code. The dots are Braille. It's a way of reading for blind people. I know about Braille, Sally says. Blind people can't see the letters on a piece of paper, but they can feel the dots with their fingers. The dots stand for letters, numbers, and words. Who do you know who's blind? Adam asked Jeremy. It's for my dad, Jeremy said. But your family doesn't have a guide dog, said Abby. Not all blind people use them, Jeremy said patiently. My dad uses a cane so he doesn't bump into anything, and he has a tiny GPS that tells him when to turn left or right in a new place. That's something I think wouldn't be so bad for a lot of us, right? When we're going, you get it in a car, but you're walking to look for somewhere. Where do you go? How does your dad help you with your homework? Asked Dory. The same as any dad, Jeremy said, only we have some fancy equipment. We have a computer set up together, and he uses a laptop that has little pegs that pop up and down and make braille letters. And he can read what I'm doing on my screen to make sure that I'm actually doing my homework rather than just playing with friends. But what does he do all day? Matthew wondered. He goes to work just like your mom and dad. And in his free time, he sings in the JCC choir. He loves to read. Sometimes he reads in Braille and sometimes he listens to audiobooks. But David said, but when I come over to play, he knows who I am. He doesn't look blind. Blind isn't how you look, Jeremy said. It's how you see. And he was starting to get a little impatient now with all the questions. He says, my dad knows my friends' voices. He's a really good listener. Jeremy was relieved when Miriam said it was time to put the supplies away. He had it with everybody's questions by that point. On Wednesday, when they met again, Miriam made an announcement. The art department wants to put your dreidels in the lobby showcase, but there's only room for 3. Let's vote for the best ones. A few minutes later, Miriam announced the winners. Jacob's musical dreidel, Abby's environmental friendly dreidel, and Jeremy's braille dreidel. Abby and Jacob beamed when the others congratulated them, but Jeremy kind of slid down in his seat looking really disappointed. What's wrong, Jeremy? Miriam said. You don't understand, Jeremy said. My dad can't see my dreidel if it's locked. If it's locked behind a glass, he not only won't be able to see it, he won't be able to play with it. The room was quiet for a minute. Then Abby said, Jeremy is right. Why do we need our dreidels in a showcase? Dreidels are meant to be played with. Let's put up posters inviting people to join us in a dreidel game instead, Jacob suggested. So that Sunday, families gathered at the JCC for a Hanukkah celebration, just like families gather at our JCC or in our synagogues for holiday celebrations. They had latkes, they had jelly donuts made by the cooking class. The drama club put on a play about the Maccabees, and the choir sang Hanukkah songs. And the dreidel table was really busy with people picked up instruction sheets and joined in the game. Babies pulled the string on Jacob's dreidel so they could hear the music. Children sat and spun Abby's recycled dreidel. And Jeremy sat with his father, smiling proudly as kids and grown-ups took turns playing with his braille dreidel. So that was our story. It's nice to see, the idea that it takes people doing different kinds of things to work together, and they understood what it is it takes. As a person with a hearing impairment, I actually don't mind explaining things that go on to people, because otherwise people can't understand why I need something or why something is different. So I don't get tired as Jeremy does. I enjoy that. That may be the rabbi in me though, because when we get a new person at the reporter or the Federation, I say to them, feel free to ask me any questions and I'll try to stop talking when I see your eyes glaze over. Yes, it gets that something. Well, hey. So I'm going to, our Havdalah blessings are in the chat now. And let's get our candle lit here. Let's move the piece of paper away so we don't set a fire. There we go. All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen Borei peri hagafen. Die die da 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 die 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 da 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 die 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 da 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 die die da da die da 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 die. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim. Smell our spices. And we truly know that Shabbat is over when we light our candles. Die, die, da, 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 die, 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 da, 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 die, 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 da, 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 die, die, da, 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 die. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei me'orei ha'esh borei me'orei ha'esh. Die, die, da, 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 die, 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 da, 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 die, 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 da, 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 die, die, da, da, die, da, 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 die. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol ben or lechoshech ben yom hashvi'i l'sheshet tameh hamaseh Baruch atah Adonai hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol. And just as we had used the wine over which we sanctified the day, we use the wine, the sweet smelling, and the candles to now say that Shabbat is over. So we take our candle and put it out in our wine or grape juice or whatever we're using. And we sing Eliyahu Hanavi. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimhera v'amenu, Ya'avo aleinu, Imashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David. And I'll ask you to unmute so that we can all sing our Shavua Tov together. Shavua Tov, 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 Shavua Tov. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. So Shavua Tov, everyone. This is actually the Thanksgiving week, so that hopefully people will have a good Thanksgiving. We have services next Friday night, both for people in the sanctuary and people at home. Robin and I will be leading services next week because Rabbi Barbara is on vacation or away for the holiday. But we will be back next Saturday night also for Havdalah, so which will be the night before Hanukkah. And yes, I will have another Hanukkah story. I am really milking Hanukkah this year. Like I said, I am. This is going to be a good holiday by hook or by crook, okay? And I've already started wearing some of my Hanukkah socks. The box is out. So we'll wish everyone on Facebook a good night, a Shavua Tov. So, and we can chat here for a few minutes if people want to. Bye for the folks on Facebook.
All right. So Robin, is that a big load off your shoulders?
Yes. Yeah, the student loan, I've been paying this round of it back for 10 years.